Hello, everybody. Welcome to the TriStar Gym channel. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about Kamaru Usman versus Leon Edwards. Number 3, the post-fight analysis. What happened? What happened? Is it what we expected? Well, I think most of us expected a very close fight. That's what we got, even though I have to give at least 3 rounds to Leon Edwards. I saw the way the judges did. I even gave, on fight night, I gave 4 rounds to Leon Edwards. I thought it was a very, very good fight by both men. Not that the rounds weren't close. Some rounds were closer than others, but I still even gave some of the very close rounds to Leon Edwards. Round 1 was a clear Leon Edwards round. Round 2 was tight, but I gave it to Leon Edwards. I know they both had great moments. Round 3 is the round I believe Leon got in trouble. He lost a point. I gave that round to Usman. But then I had 4 and 5 as well for Leon Edwards. What a great fight. An amazing fight. Guys, I want to hear what you have to say. Usually I go through the whole thing minute by minute. I'm not doing that today. I want to hear what you guys have to say about the fight. Leon cheated. Habib Sawari says Leon cheated. I knew that was going to come up today. Yes, he grabbed the glove. Yes, what else did he do? He grabbed the fence. Did it change the course of the fight? I think slightly, but not enough to say that it could have made a difference. Guys, I agree. It wasn't the most halal or kosher win. However, I don't know if it would have made much of a difference. But I can't say it wouldn't have made a difference. 1 extra takedown. Because don't forget, Herb Dean did a great job catching it and taking a point away and all that. But he didn't restart them on the ground. Things could have gone different. If you can get him on the ground, slow him down. Usman's a beast on the ground, so it could have maybe been different. But other than that, I just don't think it was such a major impact. Coach Kamaru couldn't lock his hands around Leon at all. That's from Marwan Shamsia. Well, he did take him down in round 2. You're right, though. Leon Edwards did a lot better than he did in the second round, in the second fight. Guys, in the second fight now, we have the answer. We speculated on this channel. We're talking about, was it the altitude? Usually he's in great shape. Or was it the pressure from Usman? But Denver, I've trained in Denver. I've been in Denver several times. It is difficult. And I was talking about how going 2 weeks before a fight is not enough, especially a 5-round fight. It's really not enough because you're only really training 1 week. The last week is weight cut week, so you're not adapting to anything. You're not doing any long cuts. You're just cutting weight. Sorry, you're not doing any long trainings. You're just cutting weight. So I think that question is answered because in London, he was full of energy all the way to the end of the fight, all the way from bell to bell, from round for round. I mean, he was just in impeccable shape. So I think we have our answer. Altitude did have a major, major impact on their second fight. I think regardless of the points taken in the 3rd round, Leon still did enough to win the round, making it 9-9. Harrington, I don't agree with you. I gave round 3 to Usman. I did. So it was a 10-8 round for me. So after 3 rounds, it was tied up because of that 1 point it took away. So it would be a 10-8 for Usman round 3 just because of the penalty, not because it was a knockdown or anything, for those of you who didn't see it. And it was still a close round. You're right. So it wasn't a 10-8 by any means by Usman. It was a 10-8 because, not because there was incredible grappling or submission attempts or knockdowns or anything like that. No, because they took away a point from Leon Edwards. And valid point. However, they should have started them back on the ground. Herb Dean did a great job. However, I think he should have started him back on the ground. It could have made a massive difference in the fight. How does an explosive fighter like Edwards maintain the same rhythm for 5 rounds? What type of preparation does he do? That's from Total Gamer. Well, if you'll notice, he was relaxing during the fight. He was footworking. He finds pockets of rest to recharge, and then he explodes again. He wasn't just working from bell to bell. If you watch that fight again, I was just rewatching it now. He was moving a lot. He was explosive, then relaxing and moving around, zigzagging, jabbing, pawing. Not every strike had a lot on it. And then all of a sudden, pow! He throws a hard one. He throws some missile. He threw a hard knee in round 2. He threw two hard body kicks. But he sets them up. He switches stances a little bit. Usman came out southpaw in the beginning. Lots of movement. And all of a sudden, boom, he hits you with a surprising strike. Honestly, the greatest performance of Leon Edwards' career was their 3rd fight. Honestly, that was the best performance he's ever put on. He fought masterfully. He's improved. He's better than he was in their second and first meeting. Definitely way better than their first meeting. In the first meeting, Usman just crushed him. Usman just had his way. No, he's improved leaps and bounds, and I don't think, and if there's another match, I just don't think Usman beats him. I think he's run away in terms of ability. Usman looked the same as in their second fight. Usman looked very similar to what he was like in their first fight. Yes, he's better, but not that much better. Leon Edwards is evolving. So Usman needs to go back to the drawing board, and he needs to bring something new. He's used to getting hit and trekking forward and guys slowing down. Edwards did not slow down. Edwards found a solution to Usman's pressure. He moved around beautifully. He had credible footwork. He was comparable in the wrestling. He defended so many shots. And then eventually he would explode. Low kicks, body kicks, knees to the head, and also punches. A variety of strikes. Where Usman was just trucking forward and using the same combo over and over again. Same combo, trying to put their hands on him and then shooting. Now in the second round, Usman caught a beautiful double leg, surprised Leon Edwards, but that was the only one he surprised him with. The rest was really labored takedowns. What else we got here? Can you train twice a day? No, I'm not. Guys, I'm only talking about the fight right now. Only about the fight. What if Kamaru utilized jiu-jitsu? Easy win? ? That's from Fezzi. No, it's not an easy win. Leon Edwards is very comparable in jiu-jitsu. He'd have to do a lot of jiu-jitsu. That's why, if you look at St. Pierre, he was every bit of a wrestler that Usman is, but a much better jiu-jitsu practitioner. So one takedown will turn into something devastating for the guy on the bottom. Guys, use Spring 50 off at jujiclub.com. Get 50% off anything on jujiclub.com. Check out all the new products I put out, Strong and Stable Running, and of course also now Speed Drills, a new video that everybody's loving. So I'm really happy to hear that you guys are enjoying it. Use promo code 50 off. Sorry, it's on your screen right there. Spring 50 off, and get 50% off your products on Juji Club. Guys, like I was saying, St. Pierre was just more complete. Usman has a great ground and pound, but not the slickest jiu-jitsu. Not like he's not surprising Leon Edwards with different controls. He's not threatening mount. He's not threatening side control. It's really like he kind of turtles you up and puts a hook in and just hits you. Works. It's beautiful, but Leon was ready for it. He was going 2-on-1. Leon was standing up, and even though in the second round he got hit a lot with Usman's standard, bring them down to turtle, gut wrench them against the fence, put in one hook, and then free up a hand to hit. That's his formula. And it works great, and it's done great. However, Leon had a solution for it, and it wasn't as effective. It wasn't as surprising as it should be, as it could be. Now, St. Pierre, he would have threw on a lot more jiu-jitsu. He would have passed the guard. He would have got to the back. He would have attempted leg locks maybe near the end of the round, or submissions, arm bars near the end of the round like he did with Hughes. He would have got on the back eventually. He would have been more of a threat. There's a lot more to prepare against with St. Pierre. Whereas Usman, it was like, look, he puts in that hook. He does gut wrench. If you have a good solution to it, there's not much else to fear per se. So look, I just think that Leon has figured out Usman more than Usman's figured out Leon Edwards. That's really what's going on. Observe Mark, 13.99 cents. Wow, thank you very much. You're a gentleman and a scholar. Thank you very much. Colton Boxwell, new mentor. Colton Boxell. Colton, welcome, my friend. Thank you. Welcome. You're a new member. I thought Leon's team implemented the right strategy against Usman. That's from Oz Aaron. Oz. Look, Trevor and Kamaru had a great game plan. I just think they could have... I would have loved to see Kamaru kick more, like he did against Colby. With Colby, he was push kicking the body. He was steeping the body. He was punching the body. This fight, if you guys remember round 3, I think it was round 3, Herb Dean had to send Usman back in his corner before the referee can say start. Usman was already fighting. He was already went across the octagon. The whole thing was pressure him. He's going to break. That's what happened in Denver. Denver was at high altitude. He's at sea level now at London. I would have thought that it would have been great to see Usman kick and punch the body. He was headhunting and forcing the takedowns. He was forcing the clinch. He was pushing up against the fence. Not a bad strategy. However, it wasn't working. It was getting late. It's time to change strategy. It's time to go to plan B. And I think they just kind of like trucked forward. If the fight was close, it might make sense, but the fight wasn't close, guys. We're going into round 4, going to round 5. I was like, Usman's behind. Usman's behind. They need to change trajectory because this ain't going to work. What else we got? Usman looked a bit regressed. That's from Coop Cooks. Look, the rounds were tight. I don't want to make it seem like all the rounds were blowouts. No. They were tight, but they were still in Leon Edwards' favor, in my opinion. You know, I just feel like there's been a big evolution in Leon Edwards. Do you think Trevor Whitman is an overrated coach? I have seen some of his striking advice, and was kind of bad. That's from Bahal's DP. Guys, I've trained with Trevor Whitman back in the day. We've worked together. He's a good friend. I consider him to be a good friend. No, he's not an overhyped trainer. He's an excellent trainer. He's a brilliant striking coach. He's been around forever. He's paid his dues. He fought amateur. He was a champion. He's a superstar. The guy is a meticulous coach, footwork, movement. He knows it all, okay? He knows it all. It just, look, guys, fights are going to go that way. Doesn't matter if you have an elite coach or not. They both have elite coaching. It's one factor of many. It's not everything. Just because you have, Freddie Roach in your corner doesn't mean you're going to win the boxing fight. I remember when Pacquiao was fighting, can't remember who it was, and it was like a blowout win. And Freddie Roach was saying publicly, look, it doesn't matter who's in Pacquiao's corner. He's going to win. You could take anybody. It doesn't have to be me. It could be anybody. He's going to win this fight. That's how much better he is. I think cornermen make a big difference, yes, but it's one factor of many. So we can't blame this on Trevor, not at all. Trevor's a brilliant coach. Him and Usman make a great team. It was just a stylistic matchup, and there needed to be adjustments made. And sometimes it's difficult to make those adjustments. Sometimes you look back and you want to kick yourself because you didn't make those adjustments. It's easy to do it on Monday night. There under the lights, under the pressure, it wasn't that easy. You know, it's a test live. It's a live test, and the questions keep flipping around, and you got to answer them, and it's a puzzle right there in front of everybody. It's not always that easy. For us, it's me, UFC historian. UFC historian, how are you? Let me know when we can talk about Colby. UFC historian, that's coming up soon. All right, I just want to wrap up this fight. Guys, it was such a great fight. I don't want to beat it to death, okay? So I'm going to do 1 or 2 more questions and comments, then I'm going to open it up, and we can talk about absolutely anything. I was hearing a lot of commentators bringing up Usman's knees. That's from Bennett James. Well, look, he had incredible cardio. As always, Usman was impeccable cardio. He got kicked in the leg. He got oblique kicked in the knee. Did it make a difference? I didn't see him get injured, even though the leg kick, I think, hurt him. I don't think it was a knee thing. I don't know if the knees made a difference. I don't know, because he's got bad knees. I don't know how he gets in shape, but he's in shape. Sometimes having bad knees makes it really hard to get in shape because you can't run. Guys, by the way, you have to run in a modified pose method. You will never hurt your knees. You got to use a strong and stable knee system. You will never hurt your knees. If you have those 2 videos, you will not hurt your knees running, and you will not hurt your knees in the gym. Work with a margin of safety. If he did that in his younger years, he wouldn't have bad knees. But did it make a difference in the fight? I personally don't think so. Now, did it make a difference in his preparation because he can't run? I know for a fact the guy can't run. He can't do plyometrics. He can't. Yeah, that could make a difference. But on fight night itself, I don't think he gave up any ground because of his knees. Maybe in preparation, though, that could be a very good point. Opinion on Kevin Lee versus Diego Sanchez. That's from Javid Bekomse. I'm going to talk about that fight, actually. You know what? Let's talk about that fight. I was in his corner. I helped Kevin for this fight. First kick. Now, that's when Diego Sanchez changes cornerman. He's back to regular training. I knew Diego was going to be better than ever because he's not training with that guy there. I don't want to bring him up. I don't want to attack that poor kid. Let's just leave him alone, okay? They gave him a job he can't do. That's the honest truth, okay? They gave him a job he's not qualified for. They pushed him in that position. He's there. He's in charge of Diego Sanchez training camp. Diego Sanchez threw all authority into this man's hands. The guy wasn't qualified. It's not his fault. I personally wouldn't have taken the job, but it's not his fault, okay? Diego's a tough guy, guys. I don't have to tell you guys how tough he is. You all know how tough he is. You all know how tough he is. What happened in that fight? Well, the first kick Diego threw breaks Kevin Lee's ACL. First kick. I couldn't believe it. And I saw it pop. Guys, I've seen so many broken knees. I have PTSD from seeing so many broken knees. And I know it's a matter of time before I do MMA. I literally train twice a day. Today I was wrestling this young wrestler. Like, these studs, man. These killers. It's got to happen soon. How many practices can I do? Today I rolled with GSP. A monster of a man. And then I came back and rolled with some other freak wrestler. You know, he's coming in from the US. Like studs, you know, like studs. How many miles do I have? Like, I don't know. This is a freak experiment. I know eventually it's going to happen. A knee's going to pop and I'm going to have to rehab it. But imagine that happening in a fight. The first kick. I saw it pop. I saw the knee go. Guys, I've seen too many broken knees. And Kevin Lee is moving around literally on one leg. Now he has a broken ACL. And he had broken his other ACL previously. But the thing is, like I told him, like I'm telling everybody, if you break one ACL, on average, the second ACL breaks 2 years later on average. That's why breaking your ACL is such a problem, because recalibrating the knees is incredibly difficult. For high-level athletes, if you're going to put your body under stress, it's very likely you break your second ACL. What happens then? You go through another surgery. You're back another year. You're back out for another year. It's crazy. It's such a crazy injury. That's why if you tear your labrum in your shoulder, it's not that bad, because you don't walk on your arms. You don't have to worry about recalibration. The knees, guys, don't break your knees. It's a major surgery, and then you're looking at a second surgery down the line. It's such a disaster. Lo and behold, Kevin beats him. Okay, Kevin, he's a warrior. This guy, it's incredible how much pain he can take, because torn ACL, he's wobbling on one leg, beats Diego handedly. He did amazing. But let me tell you something. If he didn't break his ACL, I think it would have been a finish. Like he would have crushed. He would have been way too much for Diego. But the fact that he was wobbling around on one leg, it was incredible. GSP can come back and win the title if he wants. That's from Harriton Ripata. Guys, I believe that's really possible. I rolled with him today, man. The guy's a beast. Strong as ever, fit as ever. Yeah, I really believe, honestly, he can come back today and put it on them. Coach, how did a titanium rod in McGregor's leg give him a new jawline, larger head, and overall bigger physique? Emoji. What do you call this emoji? Question mark emoji, like question reflection emoji with a needle. Guys, you know, I told you all before Liver King got busted on steroids. I told you, all of you. I know too much about training to tell you a lie. This guy's obviously not a natural athlete, and he claims to be natural, and he tells you about the 9 ancestral whatchamacallits. I came in here on this channel, and months before, he got busted. He got outed. Emails leaked proving that he was on steroids, a massive amounts. I told you guys on this channel repeatedly, and I know I would say like 80% of you knew already. And I was sarcastically saying, look, let's try to figure this out, like Sherlock Holmes, you know. Guys, he's on copious amounts of steroids. We can all tell you this. You don't have to have a PhD in exercise science. However, Liver King is a glaring example of guys still duping people. They just dupe people. People just, they want to believe. I don't know what it is, man. How could you buy anything from it, this man? I heard he made like 100 million or something ridiculous, or he claimed 100 million. Now look, if you look back at McGregor, it's kind of obvious. That's all I could say. Ismael, $5. Thank you, sir. You're a gentleman and a scholar. Hello, coach. I've been a big fan since 2018. Were you surprised on Leon's performance? Question mark. Would GSP beat the current welterweight champion? Hold on a second, guys. My phone is blowing up. My phone is blowing up. Why is my do not disturb not on? Okay. Do not disturb is on. Yeah, I think GSP could. Honestly, I think he would become a world champion again. I don't think he wants to be, so don't like take that as he's coming back. I just think he can be. Was I surprised at Leon's performance? I thought this fight was going to be tighter. I gave Leon, of course, a chance. I gave 55-45 for Kamaru. But he surprised me. He did better than I thought, and congratulations to him. He really is a true champion. Coach Zahabi, purchased all strong and stable series. Just what I needed to start MMA. Was wondering if you could list the top 3 maximal strength exercises. Thanks in advance. That's from Sparky Nopal. Thank you, sir. You're a gentleman and a scholar. I would tell you, look, for maximal strength, use the most important video, guys. I know my number 1 selling video is strong and stable knees, but it's really, in my opinion, it's the most important video because it's the worst injury to have. But the second most important video, in my opinion, is strong and stable back for life. I teach band pulling. It's a stretch band exercise. It's basically, it mimics Olympic lifting. The beauty of it is you're not carrying any load. It's actually more explosive than Olympic lifting. And you don't have to spend 10 years learning how to do it. Olympic lifting is extremely complicated. Guys, I'm not a great Olympic lifter, and I trained with Pierre Roy, the best Olympic lifting coach ever in the history of Canada. And I still don't know how to, I still don't lift well. It takes practice. It takes so much practice. So I do hybrid lifts. I do power clean. I don't do cleans. I do power snatch. So basically you don't go all the way down. You don't get into that squatted stance that they do. And I teach it an even simpler method via band pulls. And I would say I like deadlift. I like deadlift better than squatting. I think squatting is great, but I prefer deadlift. My hips are more attuned to deadlifting. So I'll tell you, do squats. If you feel squatting is, I teach box squatting. So it's either box squatting or deadlift. I like those two. And then I would add one explosive one for maximal strength, which would be the band pull. The band pull, in my opinion, is the best for developing power. The best. No, there's nothing better. What's your opinion on Makhachev not tapping? That's from APBLN. That was incredible. Guys, I was wincing. Excuse me, guys. Pardon me. I was wincing, guys. I was like, I'm going to see another limb break. You know, guys, I've seen so many limb breaks. Like I have a bit of PTSD. John, when I was younger on the mats, used to tell us, when you see a limb break, watch it over and over again. Like, don't desensitize yourself. And he's right. I know I shouldn't be saying that maybe because a lot of people are going to think that's crazy. But he used to encourage us, like, it's okay. Like, make your peace with it. Limbs are going to break. You're in the big breaking business. It's going to happen. Not in practice, but like in competition, to know what it takes to break a limb, etc. And I'll tell you that after a while of seeing so many limb breaks, it's actually not fun to watch anymore. Not that it was ever fun. I never like to see somebody's limb break. It's just that, I don't know, it lingers with you. You carry it with you. So I thought I was going to see another limb break. I was really happy to see him not break his knee. And then the fact that all his opponent had to do was break free from the gut wrench, because Makhachev could not walk anymore. We saw him after the fight was done. He got on top of the guy with a gut wrench, choked him, finished it, and then climbed up on the fence, but he couldn't walk anymore. It was incredible. Sup, coach? I missed a lot of your live videos and happy you're on. Your name was mentioned on Joe Rogan podcast. Joe said you're his favorite MMA coach. Thank you, guys. That's from Shiz Ahmedov. That's awesome. I hear, every time he mentions me, people text me or message me and tell me about it. I love Joe. I appreciate him very, very much for mentioning me. And I've done his podcast twice. I hope to do it the third time one day soon. Okay, we have another super chat. Rest in peace, Louis Simon, Westside Barbell. Have you tried his reverse hyper machine for low back pain? That's from Javid Bekomse. Guys, I have one. I bought one. I'm a big follower of Louis Simmons. I've read all his works, almost all his works. Okay, he used to give them free online, brilliant articles. I have the reverse hyper. I do use it every so often, but it's not my favorite way to work the back. Guys, check Strong and Stable Back. All the top exercises are in there. It's not my favorite way. It's a good way. I do use it, absolutely. But I do believe there are better ways. Don't forget, he invented the machine, so he had an incentive for selling it. Okay, I don't think it's bad. He claimed he broke his back and he rehabilitated himself with that machine. I think it's a great machine. I have one. I bought one, but it's not my favorite. It's up there though. Coach, which Juji Club vids should a white belt buy? That's from Nicholas Machete. I have Advanced Basic Series. It's all gold. Every single video is gold. For guard, get Volume 3, Ashigami Made Simple, and Guard Retention. It's one of my favorite videos. I believe it's Volume 5. I think that video is one of my best videos. And I just released speed drills. My speed drills video. Make sure you get the speed drills video. Your guard passing will explode. It's all about building muscle memory and not only doing detailed passes. Detailed passes are important. However, building incredible muscle memory is super important as well. Coach, what's your thoughts on knees over toes guy method? That's from Bernardo Santos. I think knees over toes. Here's the thing, okay? I'm going to keep this really brief. You get an MMA fighter gets so much knees over toes action already. When you're sprinting, when you're jumping, when you're landing, when you're knee sliding through the guard, when you're playing guard, when you're kickboxing, you're getting so much knees over toe action. So your patella is already strengthened. Your tendons are strengthened. You're doing wrestling, for God's sakes. People are pulling on your joints all day long. When you go to the weight room, in my opinion, don't put any stress on the tendons. Now it's about developing strength and power. Strength, power, endurance. I want to put the weight on my muscles and my bones. If I do that, bones and muscles regenerate. Tendons have a limited lifespan. Yes, they regenerate, but not to the same degree. Not to the same degree. Bones recover. Bones do well under stress. Bones get stronger under stress. Muscles get stronger under stress. Tendons, yes, but tendons you can overdo it. You don't want to. You want to slowly. He'll even admit that to you. He says, "Look, I gradually increased the stress on the tendons over time. It took me many years to build tendons this strong." Okay, great, brilliant. However, if you're wrestling, kickboxing, you're getting every time you kick the bag, boom! Like you're building your tendons, your muscles, and your bone. The bones and muscles can take a greater volume, a much greater volume. How many times did you hear anybody break their bone? Like so rare. Like not in a submission, like doing a double leg. Oh, and I broke my bone. It's so rare. It's very rare. Bones don't break that easily. How many times have you heard somebody tear a muscle in practice? It does happen, but it's much easier fixed muscle tear. Much easier. But tearing tendons is common. Why? You put stress on the mat and on them in your sport. Then you go put in the weight room and you put more stress on them. They never get a chance to recover. We have a lot of overuse injury. Okay, so let's say you're sitting behind a desk all day and you do knees over toes, you're going to feel better. Why? You're exercising. It's not the knees over toes program per se. Any program will make you feel better. Any program will strengthen your joints. Any program, literally any program. However, I don't do knees over toes for high reps and I don't do it under load. Why? Because I have that in practice. Now people are going to tell me, Coach, but I'm in these positions when I wrestle, so shouldn't I do them in the weight room? Okay, with that logic, why don't you squat with a rounded back? When you're wrestling, your back is rounded. When you're boxing, your shoulders are rounded and your neck is down. Why don't you hunch up when you do squats? We know why. Because everybody who's ever done it that way had a bad back. No world champion ever in lifting, ever lifted with a rounded back. Never. Never. Those guys with rounded backs never made it to the higher weights. Never. If you put a load consistently and go knees over toes consistently, you will overuse your tendons, in my opinion. And also, when you go knees over toes, it's complicated. There's a lot of complicated things to this. It's okay to go knees over toes after you've bent at the hips. I don't want to get into this because it's quite long, but it's hips first, then knees. When you do it correctly, when you squat correctly, like I show in the Strong and Stable series, you get 1,000% more torque in the hips. That's where you want to develop, guys. Do you want to develop your knees or do you want to develop your hips? It's hips. The best athletes have the best hips. Hips are a prime mover. Knees are not a prime mover. Usain Bolt doesn't run fast because he has incredible knees. He runs fast because he has incredible hips. Now, knees are important, but they're not the engine. The engine of your body is your hips. The more explosive the hips, the more explosive you are. Sam, Coach, I have an inguinal hernia. Was wondering if you had any experience with hernias or advice regarding them. Currently waiting for a specialist. That's from Hassan Haytham. Hassan, I personally, look, Stuart McGill says, don't go to a specialist. I teach you in strong and stable back how to decompress your spine naturally. Like right now, I'm slouching. I even teach you how to sit in a chair and slouch. I'm slouching right now. I believe slouching is permissible so long as your spine is in neutral. Right now, my lumbar spine is in neutral position. I am not flexing at L4, L5. I'm perfectly neutral. Now my abs and lumbar spine are perfectly neutral. I could sit like this for hours. I'll never hurt my back. I teach you how to sit. I teach you how to naturally decompress your spine while sitting, while lying down. You ever see in a ballet dancer or a yogi how the way they stand like this? I call it the air balloon, hot air balloon. You narrow your waist. You bring your shoulders as far away from your hips. You naturally elongate your spine. You pull from the top of your head here. I teach the whole thing. I decompress my spine maybe 10, 15 times a day. Okay, when I teach you how to hang your spine on the back of a chair and decompress it. As you decompress your spine gently, the way I'm teaching throughout the day, as you pull your spine back up gently, and we're talking about fractions of a millimeter, the fluids will go back into your spinal cord. Okay, I had a bulging disc. Nobody could fix it. I did some very in-depth research and found the best of the best back specialists in the world, including Stuart McGill, Kelly Starrett, SSL Sports Science Lab, working with the top guys in the world, and I figured out how to cure my own back. I had horrible sciatica, etc. Decompress your spine. Do the Alexander technique. You'll feel better. I teach the Alexander technique and the Alexander Plus technique, which is my variation. Decompress your spine. Guys, 80% of people have back pain. 80%. I would say 99% of the back advice out there is like for regular everyday people, not for serious athletes. Is that why people on steroids destroy their tendons sometimes? That's from Timbo. Well, I think it's because there's a lot of reasons. It depends what kind of steroids you take, but I think also you can get too strong too fast and your tendons didn't maybe catch up. But I know I'm not an expert in steroids, guys. I don't take a deep dive into the science of steroids because I don't use them and I don't recommend them to people. I would never take the responsibility of giving somebody steroids. I'm not a chemist. I would never, and I personally have never tried it, and I would never recommend it to somebody because I feel it could take time. I find it unethical. It could take time off your life. If people do it, that's none of my business. However, I do feel that coaches who tell their young kids to do it, I think it's completely unethical. Slam coach, how can I have a good guard retention when I have limited mobility in my left hip? Growing up, I had 12 surgeries on my left hip and femur. I was born with hip dysplasia and leg lengthening issues. That's from Sean McCormick. Well, it's a really tough situation you're in. I'm sure you can increase your range of motion and slowly compensate. However, you could also play a different type of guard. Like, for instance, George St. Pierre doesn't have the best hip mobility. The way he plays guard is actually quite telling. He does a lot of arm drag. He does a lot of underhook to invert. He does a lot of hip heisting back up to his feet and take it. So what I'm trying to tell you is find a guard play that works well for you. You might not be able to play the same kind of guard that a lot of the elite practitioners play, but find the right guard for you. Like an interesting example of this is Marcelo Garcia. He had a knee injury, so he couldn't play like rubber guard. He tried rubber guard. He talks about it in his book. He experimented with this type of guard, that type of guard. And eventually he found rubber guard was good because it didn't hurt his knees. He didn't have to invert, and he played a guard that made sense for him. Another great example of that is Bill Superfoot Wallace. He hurt his knee doing judo. He couldn't kick with one leg, so he decided to double up his training on one side, and all of a sudden he's got the best leg in the sport at a certain time. And they called him Superfoot because his leg would move like an arm. He turned the negative into a positive, so find the guard play that works for you. Or maybe you don't play guard. Maybe you become a hip heister back up to your feet and you master wrestling. And your objective is to out wrestle everybody and put them on their back. Find the system that works for your body. Conor is going to KO Chandler first round like he did Cowboy. A caboose king. That's very possible. I'll tell you why. Because Conor does really well when he has a reach advantage. Notice all his big wins, all his blowout wins. And he's a brilliant guy. Okay, like him or not, he's a brilliant guy. He's a great puncher. He's a great counter puncher. Even if Chandler takes him down, I'm just playing devil's advocate here. Is Chandler known for his ground game? Well, he's got powerful strikes, powerful ground and pound, but he's not a sub guy. He's not a pinner. He's usually going to end up in a scramble. Guys up scramble up from underneath him. So what does Chandler have? Chandler has big punching power. He kind of like level changes and pounces on you. Well, guess what? McGregor loves that. When Aldo pounced on McGregor, got knocked out. When Eddie Alvarez pounced on McGregor, got knocked out. You pounce on McGregor, you get counterpunched. McGregor loves that. He plays a long game, and when you throw a heat missile towards him, pow, he counters you. You're feeding him what he wants. Now, Chandler's also got a good leg kick. He's not dumb. He's a very intelligent guy. He might tell himself, hey, I'm going to surprise him with some strikes, with shoot in his legs, double leg him, make him scramble. He's a scrambling machine. If he gets McGregor scrambling, I'm not saying Chandler can't win. I'm just saying stylistically, this can really benefit McGregor because he's shorter and he's a puncher. McGregor does really good against short guys who throw punches. Go look at his career. Every guy was a puncher. Got out-punched by McGregor, especially when they were shorter. Taller guys also got out-punched. But I'm just saying a counter-puncher can out-punch, can counter a taller puncher, yes, but he can. We call it reach advantage for a reason, okay? He's going to have an excessively good reach advantage. Against Poirier, he didn't. I mean, he had a reach advantage, but not as much as he's going to have against Chandler. Now, Chandler, I think he's going to try to scramble, create scrambles, even if he doesn't hold McGregor down, just keep him scrambling. Because after a few rounds, McGregor starts to slow. That's what we've seen. And who knows what putting on all that muscle is going to do. Sometimes you get jacked, guys, and it backfires. It backfires. Why does it backfire? Those muscles need a lot of oxygen. Those muscles eat up a lot of oxygen. You better have the lung capacity to feed those muscles. I disagree with analysts and particular fighters who say Chandler will be Connor's easiest fight. Michael Chandler is a better wrestler, has better cardio and KO power. Anyone remember when Michael got rid of Dan Hooker with one shot in UFC debut? ? That's from Shiz Akhmedov. Well, Shiz, $50. I'm not sure what that currency that is, but thank you, sir. You're a gentleman and a scholar. Chandler's look, this is a tough fight to call. They both have a chance to win, of course. However, McGregor's a great counterpuncher, and Chandler's going to be throwing bombs. The harder the punch you throw, the more you can get countered. Guys, Hooker's a great fighter, but he's not a counterpuncher at the level of a McGregor. Now, McGregor's also been out for a long time. What's he been doing? Has he been training? Has he been partying? Why is he so muscular all of a sudden? Guys, I've seen guys get on a lot of Flintstone vitamins, and it backfired because they took way too much and too much muscle, and they become like, oh, look, I'm so much better. They get fascinated with themselves. And then after 4 or 5 minutes of hard fighting, they realize, hey, these muscles come with a lot of tax, take a lot of oxygen. So we have to see. Time will tell. Coach, I'm 17, training 2 to 3 times a day. I plan to stop by TriStar soon. And how do I know when I'm overtraining? That's from random vids. Well, a safe rule of thumb is train three hard weeks, and then the 4th week, take it easy. Let your body recover. So train, but don't train as much. I show it in my programs, and Strong and Stable Knees. I teach how to cycle your training. 3 hard weeks, guys. Don't train 4, 5, 6 hard weeks. Your body will start to break down, and you're flirting with injury. 3-week cycles for natural athletes is a way to go. How do you know if you're overtraining? Well, 2 to 3 times. 3 times a day, you might be taxing your testosterone. It's hard for me to say when you come in, I'll have an assessment, but performance should be going up steadily. If performance is dipping, you might be over. If you're training really hard and your performance is worse, that's a sign you're overtraining. Now, let me tell you another sign. You're down. Your mood is down. Depression and overtraining have similar symptoms. You're not enthusiastic, you're grumpy, everything hurts, you're combing your hair and it hurts, and you're going to the mall and you're gonna buy a pair of pants and you're miserable and nothing makes you happy, and all of a sudden like you're overtraining. You gotta let your hormones recover. You gotta take a couple of days off. I like to go to the pool when you feel your body's breaking down. Go to the pool. The pool is very therapeutic. Do just a few laps. Don't do any intervals. Don't do anything crazy. Just hang out in the pool, relax, sit in the chair, go back in the pool, do a few laps. There's zero impact in the pool. Let your body recover. I like shadow boxing when I'm feeling tight. I personally, I'll do technique, shadow box if I'm feeling tight. I'll just do abs, maybe neck. I won't do anything serious. Let your body recover sometimes, guys. It's very, very important. Sam, coach, what's stopping the big named fighters with no contract from independently putting on an MMA matchup for a payout? Example, could Khabib and GSP have an MMA match for a payout if they wanted to? That's from Shakil Muhammad. Look, when you retire, your UFC contract is paused. You can't just retire and say, oh, I'm starting my new event. I'm free agent. No, it doesn't work like that. Your contract is paused. If you decide to fight again, you have to do it via UFC. You have to find a way for UFC to release you. If they don't release you, you're still under contract with them, even though you're retired. Guys, I have a whole bunch of super chats that popped up. I don't know what to do with them all here. Okay, here we go. Jesse on fire. Love the channel. If Masvidal chirps Burns into staying on the feet before the fight, how do you think that matchup if you completely pull ground game off the table? So Jesse on fire is asking me Masvidal versus Gilbert Burns. Just stand up. I would give it to Masvidal if Masvidal is in tip-top shape. Because I know Gilbert Burns trains around the clock. He's super serious. If Masvidal comes in tip-top shape, I think strictly just standing, I think Masvidal has the edge because he can take a shot. And, we've seen Gilbert get hurt with a jab. In the Usman fight, he got hurt with a jab. In the Chimaev fight, he got hurt with the jab. That tells me, he has a good chin, but it's not the tippy top of best chins. And, yes, Masvidal got knocked out, but he's still a killer, man. He's got that fighter instinct. He can take a shot. He can give a shot. If he comes in tip-top shape, like when he fought Nate Diaz, yes, standing up only, I would give it to Masyvidal. I would beat you up and GSP at that time. That's from Joey Camelu. Well, Joey, no problem. I welcome you to TriStar Gym. Please do show up, and me and you will have a nice tussle. It'll be fun. Jesse on fire, baby. That's from Dylan84. What are your thoughts on Bilal versus Shavkat? Is that on? That's a tough fight, man. That's a really tough fight to call. Is that fight on? Is that a main event? It should be a main event. It's a very tough one to call. Do you think Islam could make the Volk rematch look like GSP rematch versus BJ Penn? Thoughts for us. Also, did you speak to him recently? That's from Ibn Hajar. No, I haven't spoken to either one of them. And look, Volk it's going to be a tall order, man. It's going to be a tall order. Volk is not going to be easy. I would like them to fight outside of Australia, fight like maybe in Las Vegas, because I really believe that fighting in Australia could have had an impact on the fight. He didn't have enough time to rehydrate. Maybe it slowed him down. I don't know. I'm not making excuses. It was a fair fight. Islam won, but that was a tight fight. Is Bilal overrated? That's from Arthan Subramanian. No, not at all. Bilal is one of the top fighters in the world. He deserves everything he got. Guys, he fought for it, and he had some bad losses, came back, and he made his way into title contention. If I was him, I would be asking for Leon Edwards. Volk could move up to 170 and take the title off Leon. That's from Harrington. No. That's way too much of a jump. Way too much. Okay, let me see if I can get the speech thingamajigger.
I always thought Muay Thai was the best stand-up base for MMA. 15-1 MMA silver medal and still got pieced up by Justin. Is Muay Thai not as good as a more hybrid style for MMA striking?
Okay, this is from their Schutz. Their Schutz is saying, look, I always thought Muay Thai was the best, but Justin Gaethje beat Fiziev. And does that mean Muay Thai is not the best? Guys, Justin Gaethje also does Muay Thai. What do you think he does? Karate? He does street fighting? No, he also does Muay Thai. It was just two really good Muay Thai fighters fighting at it. And listen, Fiziev, he has just less fights. I think Fiziev is going to touch gold eventually. That's what I think. It wasn't because of Muay Thai or kickboxing. It's because of experience. Gaethje has more experience in MMA, and it was an MMA fight. I think a Muay Thai fight in a ring, not an octagon, it makes a big difference. It'll be more Fiziev's game. I think Fiziev eventually goes even further than Gaethje did in his career in terms of UFC gold or whatnot. However, it just wasn't his day. It wasn't his time. Gaethje adapted. It's a game they're both playing, and they both do boxing and Muay Thai. So it's not really a question of Muay Thai versus kickboxing or anything like that. All right, here we go. Thoughts on Colby Leon matchup? That's from GMC. I think Colby's got to beat somebody. His last fight, I believe, was with Masyvidal, and then he had two losses to Usman, if I'm remembering correctly. Let me look that up, actually. Let me look up Colby, his topology. Okay, let's see here. Masyvidal, Kamaru. Oh, he beat Tyrone Woodley. Okay, so he lost to Kamaru, beat Tyrone Woodley, lost to Kamaru, fought Masyvidal. Okay, so look, I think Bilal should get a shot. I think there are guys who I think he has to go and beat a huge name to get a title shot. I don't think he should just step up over everybody and get to. He's 2-2 in his last 4 fights. 2-2. And he beat 2 guys who have lost several fights. So I think he needs to beat somebody who's in the tippy top, the top 3. Coach, comment je peux faire pour éviter les déshydratations durant le Ramadan? That's from Aladdin. Coach, how can I avoid dehydration during Ramadan? Guys, for those of you who don't know, during Ramadan, we don't eat from sunrise to sunset. I'll tell you, wake up. Munir, 88, says, philosophy, please, with a heart. Guys, ask me any question, and I'll try my best to answer you. Another super chat from Jesse on Fire. After watching Jeff fight, was I alone in thinking that Shavkat seems highly vulnerable to getting starched by a hook he doesn't see? Look, his defense wasn't the best. However, look at his athleticism, his power, his tenacious attack. He didn't even need the takedown. The knee to the body, the kicks, the elbows. He's an incredible athlete. But you're right. He needs to be polished up in terms of defense. I wish I can get my hands on him because I could polish him up real good. Anthony Levesque Kenville, my boy. Firas been trying to get over a cold since Saturday. Any tips? It's killing me to miss practice. Dying to train again. Much love. That's from Anthony, my boy. Kenville. Try with a Wim Hof breathing method. Check it out. It's really good. George St. Pierre. I'll tell you something about him. We were talking the other day, like 2 weeks ago. We're having dinner and we're talking. I was like, man, when you get sick, because I noticed ever since I got the jab in the arm that they gave me that I'm not allowed to talk about. When I get sick now, it lags. Like I used to get sick 2 to 3 days, and then I don't get sick for longer than that. 2 to 3 days, I'm over the worst of it. Now it's like the last time I was sick for like 8 days. And then even after that, I got back to the gym. I was still having symptoms. My stomach was aching. I had like these little tiny symptoms. And I was like, I was never like that 2 years ago. Never. And I was talking to George. He was like, yeah. He goes, I agree. But he goes, because George, when he's sick, he's only sick for like 24 hours, 48 hours. He doesn't get sick long. And he's like, I do cold showers, cold plunges. And he goes, he does the Wim Hof. And I was like, you're right. I used to do it too. I used to do the Wim Hof too religiously. And then I forgot about it and I started doing it again. Again, very religiously. It's super important. It makes a big difference. The cold plunges too. I like to do cold plunges. I could stay in the ice water outside in the freezing cold an hour, no problem. If I do the Wim Hof breathing method, I get in there, I enjoy it. And they tested him once in a lab. This blew my mind. There's a documentary on him. You guys got to watch it. Vice did a documentary on him. And they tested him and several of his students. and they injected them with like I don't want to mess this up, but like a virus, to get them sick, and they didn't get sick. It was pretty amazing. Look, there's no doubt he's onto something. That guy's out. He has like 12 world records. Like it's no doubt. Now, why he has those world records, I don't know if it's solely because of his breathing, but I personally, when I use his breathing methods, and I used to do it religiously, and I started redoing it again, because George was reminding me of it. He's like, stay with it. Don't give up on it. Don't forget about it. It's important to make it in your routine. And he's so right. Because I find it amazing. And you have to get good at it. That's the thing. You got to get good at it. It's not just, oh, I did it once and I'm good at it. No, it takes practice. You can go deeper and deeper into a state of like, you get numb. I could literally, I'm telling you, if you put me in a cold bath outside, sub-zero, I will stay in there in an hour, happily and comfortably. Okay, by the way, Anthony, I hope you get well soon, my boy. Get well soon, get back to the gym. Wim Hof is a legend, and he saved my life. That's from Pompeii. I'm telling you, the guy's onto something. The guy ain't no fool. Sounds fine to me. No, the mic is fine. Khabib won by submission against Conor, but it wasn't a neck choke. Khabib squeezed his jaw. What's mind-blowing is when a grappler can't get the neck, they move on to the next stage, but Khabib stayed in with his position and squeezed the jaw. GOAT. That's from Shave Akhmadov. Guys, you can't do a mandible choke. You could put somebody to sleep around the jaw. Believe me, you run out of air. It's not easy. You run out of air and also breaks the bone of the jaw. Okay, the jaw is a joint like everything else. You could break it. You're right. He was kind of on the mandible. You're right. But he was also around the neck. I think it was both. I think McGregor tapped because his jaw might break, and also he was getting choked. Big Sheikh Firas, is it healthy to be on 600 calories a day diet during a whole Ramadan? What's the max weight that can be lost during Ramadan? That's from Hajj. First of all, you shouldn't do Ramadan to lose weight. And no, 600 calories a day is not healthy. Do not. I forbid you. Listen carefully to me. I'm forbidding everybody out there from doing a 600 calorie a day diet. It's not good. You're going to be in worse shape. If you do that for a few months, you're going to be in worse shape. One, you can permanently alter your metabolism. Permanently. You're going to wreak havoc on your hormones. You're going to get injured, especially if you try to train. Your body will slowly eat its fat and also its muscle. You're going to a catabolic state. You will lose hard-earned muscle. I forbid you from doing this. Guys, I'm releasing a book shortly that teaches you how to know how much food to eat. It's coming out soon. There are many great resources. It is forbidden to do a 600 calorie a day diet. It's the worst idea ever. Do not do it. You will not get super lean. You will not get super muscular. It will not work. Okay? Do not do it, please. Figure out how much calories you need. There are plenty of calculators online. You could figure it out. It's not complicated. You don't need me to do it. Do a 20-minute research. Figure it out. Super easy. And eat that amount of calories and lose your weight slowly. Do not attempt to lose the weight quickly. You're just shedding water. You're just losing muscle. Yeah, you're losing a bit of fat. But you're going to destroy your body. And you will, I guarantee you, over time, destroy your performance. Do not do it. It's completely wrong. It's forbidden. What's your thoughts on water fasting for Ramadan? That's from Macho. You cannot water fast for Ramadan. You cannot just, I'm going to skip the food, but I'm going to have water. No, that's not Ramadan. You can water fast, but that's not Ramadan. Ramadan, there's no food and there's no water, and no mufti in the world can change that. Okay. Dude, dieting is a damn science, but zero resources. That's from AJ. That's not true. There's plenty of resources online, and there's plenty of 1,001 resources online. It's everywhere. There's unlimited. There's a huge amount of resource on it, and a lot of it's free. What about the doctor who advocates 40-day water fast? That's from Hydro Homie 9000. What a name. You know, when a guy has a name like that, you must respond to his question. I don't agree with a 40-day water fast, not for athletes. Okay, maybe He has a good therapeutic reason to do it, but you will lose a lot of hard-earned muscle, and that doctor is probably like more focused on disease, curing disease. Okay, I'm not a disease expert. I'm telling you, for body composition and athletic performance, not eating food for 40 days and just drinking water is going to destroy your athletic career. So I'm only commenting on athletic performance. I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving you guys advice on your health. Joey Camelu, what do you call a blasphemous gorilla? Harambe. Okay. Swish S, what do you do when who do you between? Man, the grammar kills me. I can't read a sentence like that. Who do you between Kobe versus Leon, Bilal versus Shakvat? The whole team is fighting. Man, it's too much, man. Kobe versus Leon. I think Leon can beat him. Bilal versus Shafkat. Oof. Tough one, man. Very tough fight to call. Listen, I've trained with Bilal, so I'm going to have to go with Bilal just out of pure loyalty. Your thoughts on Khabib Lavoie? I want to learn to incorporate karate into my striking for distance control. Is he a good fighter to learn from? Khabib Lavoie. Who is Khabib Lavoie? Guys, I'm not familiar with that name. Let me search this name. Khabib Lavoie. Khabib Lavoie. Karate. What an old country, Canada. Karate Combat. Let me check him out here. Let me go on YouTube and find Mr. Khabib Lavoie. See what kind of style he shows. All right, Khabib Lavoie. All right. Listen, if he's fighting Karate Combat, he's got to be a stud. That's for sure. And I'm watching him right now. I love karate, guys. If you have a black belt in karate, don't forget. Oh, yeah, I know. He's super slick, man. Bantamweight. Great distance control. I would definitely pick up learning from him. Guys, I like learning karate mixed with boxing, mixed with Muay Thai. That's my three. Like, if I had to, like, that's what I teach. That's what I learned. That's my style. I don't think karate, everybody can get it. But if you have that kind of open-mindedness, it can add an amazing dimension to your game. No, he's super slick, guys. He's super, super slick. Not bad. Good wrestling. These guys are... He's Canadian. I wonder where he comes from. Where is he from, Canada? Where's his hometown? Canada? No, it doesn't say his hometown. It's too bad. I would invite him up. Monsieur Lavoie, you're invited officially if you want to come and train with us. I would love to have you down. He's Canadian. I hope he's not too far away. What else we got here? Oh my God, how many super chats did you guys hit? Oh my God. Holy moly. Holy moly. They're disappearing. Assalamu alaikum. I'm cutting down LIS cardio. LIS is like when you run long distance. 110 beats per minute, elliptical, 60 minutes. Every 5 minutes, I get off and do a compound exercise at RPE 7. Then rate of perceived exertion, so 7, like 7 on 10 best. Off and go compound exercise, and then go back to elliptical. I get full body workout and cardio within 60 minutes. Your thoughts? That's from Ibrahim. Guys, he's doing this freak exercise where he's going on elliptical. He's just burning the right amount of energy so he can go right into his fat storages. If you give like a certain effort, which is not too high, not too low, you go right into your fatty deposits. And then he jumps off the treadmill and he does a compound lift about 7 on 10 just to build that muscle. Look, it's not a bad way to go about it. But guys, if you want to burn fat, the easiest way to do it, because that's a lot of effort for no much. You're getting good at elliptical. Like, why would you do 60 minutes of elliptical? Like, you want to be the world's best elliptical guy? Like, this makes no sense. You're also lowering testosterone. I don't like daily cardio like that. I don't like it, guys. I don't like it. In strong and stable running, I teach you guys how to do short bursts. Your job when you're doing fitness is to build muscle. Your job when you're in the kitchen is to burn fat. Don't burn fat necessarily on the treadmill because you're chasing your tail. Let me explain, okay? The best way to burn fat is to find out exactly how many calories you need. Try intermittent fasting. I have a book coming out on it, but basically, I eat 2 meals a day because I spike my insulin only twice a day. Basically, I might have a snack, okay, but it's not a full meal. Long story short, guys, burning fat is all about diet. Building muscle is all about intense exercise. I have very little room for LISS. LISS is, I forget what it stands for, steady state, long steady. I'm not a big lover of long distance running. I think if I really wanted to get you lean, let's say my mission was to get you super, super lean, I would tell you, okay, you're going to walk 60 minutes a day and you're going to eat perfect. Like if your diet is perfect, I won't even ask you to run. I'll ask you to walk every day. Why? Because you can walk every day. It's low impact. You don't need any recovery time. It won't destroy your hormones. The problem with doing 60 minutes of elliptical, are you doing it daily? I'm not sure if you're doing it daily, is you're going to lower your testosterone. There's studies that show that some marathon runners have the equivalent testosterone of a castrated man. You guys hear what I just said? A castrated man and a person who runs every single day, long distances, have the same level of testosterone. Guys, testosterone is precious. It's a precious commodity. What you should do is adjust your diet, do kettlebell, do row machines, do running, hit the bag, do intense exercises, 7 on 10, or rate of perceived exertion is fine. You'll build muscle. Exercising is for building muscle and cardiovascular, developing your cardiovascular ability, your respiratory system, your VO2, your ability to withstand high intensity exercise. Don't do long steady state. I don't find it's necessary. If you really want to get ripped, it's all about diet. Now, some people put being ripped as a premium. They want to take off their shirt and be shredded. It's all diet. You don't need long steady state. You're just killing testosterone. Please, guys, stop destroying testosterone. Okay, guys, I don't know why the other super chats passed. I think it's because I want to visit Quebec. Thoughts on Québécois? Québécois. That's from OJPC. Thoughts on Québécois, excuse me. The Québécois are great people. You're going to love them. Guys, you're going to love them. Absolutely going to love them. Coach, guys, by the way, I forgot to mention it, guys. Please check in the bottom of the description. TSDorms at gmail.com. The TriStar Dorms is fully open again. I forgot to mention it. I promised the guys at the dorms I would mention it. Man, I forgot. Guys, please make sure, check out the description if you're interested in coming to train at TriStar Gym. TS Dorms. I screwed it up. I forgot to mention it. There it is. It's up on your screen. TSDorms at gmail.com. TSDorms at gmail.com. If you want to come train with us at TriStar Gym, the dorms are fully open again. Alex versus Izzy 2 is coming. Alex versus Izzy 2 happened, guys. It happened many, many years ago. This is Alex versus Izzy 4. Can you believe it? 4. I got Alex again, 4-0. What sucks is Izzy does everything right and scores points easily, but Alex can lose for 5 rounds and can decide to end the fight anytime. So unfair, LOL. That's from Ahmedov. I'm gonna do, guys, I think I have a watch party for this one. I got a watch party for this fight. We're gonna watch this fight together. I'm so excited about this fight, man. You have no idea. I don't know how to live with myself if I lose to the same guy 4 times. Could you imagine? Oh, man. Izzy's got to win this one. Yeah, look, Izzy's got guts, man. He's got guts. He's fighting the same guy 4 times after losing 3 times to the guy. It's insane. I have to go through analysis. I know it's guys. Last fight, Izzy was doing so good. He was doing so good. Me and the guys were talking about it in the gym today. He threw one kick. Alexander checked it, and Izzy stumbled, did a back roll, ended up on the fence. He wasn't on the fence for the majority of the fight. Finally, Alex has him exactly where he wants him, puts him away. If he didn't if he didn't stumble off a kick, like it's such a, the way the cookie crumbles, guys, the way the cookie crumbles sometimes, it's mind-blowing. Mind-blowing. Because you can't really prep for stuff like that. Yeah, he made a technical error, but anybody can make that error. Nobody's a perfect fighter. Nobody does zero errors, guys. Nobody. And it's easy for a guy like me to sit here and tell you, oh, the error happened. But I'm not saying I could do better. Obviously not. What I'm saying is that he didn't set up the kick, so it got checked. It was telegraphed, and he stumbled. The stumble is a byproduct of his kick. And the stumble led him to being caught on the fence, and him being caught on the fence led him to getting KO'd. But he was doing incredible till then. Adesanya was on his way to a victory. It's insane. It's insane. But he's got major guts, man, to fight that guy again. I don't know what to expect. I'm sure I'll do a breakdown, but honestly, I don't know what to expect. Hey, coach, may I please ask what a typical training day is like? For example, how much you train in a day? And if you take a rest day, thanks. That's from KG. Well, I'll tell you, on Mondays, I teach the MMA practice. Okay, sometimes I jump in. If there's not a lot of guys with big fights coming up, I'll jump in. I'll spar MMA, little gloves. Okay, we kind of like touch spar. We do like wrestling intervals. It's a really great class. But most of the days, that practice, I'm coaching it because there's guys fighting and I'm watching them and I'm correcting them and I'm adjusting their training camp. After that, I have a jiu-jitsu class. So 12 o'clock, I have a jiu-jitsu class. We wrestle and roll on the ground. We do situations. A full class, 8-minute rounds. Like, it's hard. Like, a lot of the advanced guys come from all over the place. Lots of elite guys, and we just wrestle and we have a good time. Then after that, I'll come back at night. Now, at night, I'll do more wrestling and jiu-jitsu, and sometimes I'll also teach the striking class where I'll jump in. So I'll do at least 2 practices a day. It's a lot. And my practices always finish with conditioning. But my conditioning is like, I would say 5 to 20 minutes. An average of 10, 15 minutes. Intense. Something intense. I don't do 1 hour on the treadmill. That's ridiculous, man. Wow. I need every bit of testosterone I got. Because wrestling and jiu-jitsu can be very intense. Very high endurance. So imagine you're depleting your testosterone rolling. And then you're going to go deplete your testosterone on the treadmill. That's insane. It's insane. You're castrating yourself. Do I take a rest day? I take generally Sunday off. I don't exercise on Sunday. And Saturday, Friday and Saturday, I only do 1 practice. So Monday through Thursday, it's 2 practices. So that's 8 practices. Some days when I'm not feeling good, or it's the 4th week of training, I will take it easy. I might roll just 1 round and then I'll hit the weights. I like to do something super intense if I feel I'm up to it. If I'm not feeling up to doing something super intense, I do abs. Abs can be done every day. I do lower back. I'll do neck. I'll do exercises that I don't have time to do during the week when I'm doing my compound lifts. So I train twice a day from Monday to Thursday. Friday, it's one training. Saturday is 1 training, but Saturday is intense. Saturday, we roll a lot. We wrestle and roll. It's a long practice. There's like 100 people on the mat, literally more than 100 people on the mat. You have wrestlers, grapplers, leg lockers, guillotiners. You have every walk of life. We're all on the same mat. It's amazing. And we wrestle on the ground. We do jiu-jitsu on the ground, I should say. Then we wrestle standing. And then after, I do a hard conditioning on Saturday. Saturday, I like to do, like, that's the day where I'm going to hit it hard. How rare to have fighters with Khabib chin. Khabib eats bombs, not be wobbled, and still press forward. Even Diaz got dropped. Is it MMA superpower? That's from their shoots. He has an incredible chin, man. He does. You're right. And look, what makes a chin? I think it's 2 things. 1, it's genetic, and 2, his physical conditioning from a very, very young age. His father prepped him from a very young age. His tendons, his spinal cord, his jaw, his every single fiber in his being has been reinforced. So when he gets hit, the shockwave going up and down the system is not so effective at destabilizing him. Was Leon doing a bit of karate against Usman? That's from Arthur. I think so. Because the switching, the stepping, that's karate footwork. Like, he might not call it karate, but in my eyes, that's karate movement. Have you heard of Tonkat Ali testosterone supplement? That's from Hydro Homie 9000. And now I know how you got that name, huh? You juiced up. You took all these supplements to boost your testosterone, Homie 9000. Give me 1 second. I'm going to turn off a light. It's annoying me. Give me 1 second. All right, I had an annoying light, studio light. They tell me, put it on the studio light, but it's annoying to have that in your eyes. Where was I? Yes, Homie 9000, steroid. I just admitted he takes steroids. No, I've heard of testosterone supplement, like they're supposed to help you boost your testosterone. I've tried that, like natural stuff. I don't know if it worked, man, honestly. They give me every one of them. I took them, I didn't feel anything. My wife tells me, no, take stuff to put your testosterone down. She doesn't put it down, don't go any higher. Guys, I believe you have to up your testosterone by number one, don't overtrain. Do not overtrain. I forbid you to overtrain. That destroys your testosterone. And 2, short runs. Don't do long runs. Short, intense exercises. Like, I love shuttle running. Like, I run 30 meters and I run back. Why? That builds your legs. That builds your back. It's killer on the system. I want you guys to go now and Google pictures of sprinters, 100-meter sprinter, and then Google a picture of a marathon runner. Totally 2 different physiques. The marathon runner, if he did MMA, he'd be broken in a year or 2. He'd be broken. Too much inflammation. A sprinter, he would last. He would be successful. Currently 150 pounds, bulking to 170. But should I continue bulking more after reaching 170? I feel I need mass to defend myself against heavier trained opponents successfully. I'm 5'7", Hassan Haytham. I'll tell you one secret, guys, to bulking. Try the carnivore diet. Try carnivore diet. Don't overdo it on the carbs. Like, carnivore diet helped me pack on muscle. Like, I'm back to intermittent fasting. I'm back to my diet, but I'm adding more protein. I'm very strict now on the protein. I've been doing flesh food, so meats, fish, chicken, quinoa. I'm adding quinoa, and I'm doing now. I'm with Greek yogurt. I love Greek yogurt. I digest it well. It's super packed with protein. I'm just more careful with my protein. I was wrestling today with Georgia. He was like, "Man, you got so much stronger." He's like, "I'm like, yeah. I did the carnivore. I'm back in. I did the carnivore while I was intermittent fasting, but I'm not eating as much meat anymore. Okay, I was eating steak every day with eggs. Now I'm getting other sources of protein, and I'm balancing it out more with carbs, but I'm trying to maintain the muscle I got, because the problem with carnivore is I gain muscle, but I also gained a little fat. Now, I've measured my waist recently. I'm back to 31.5, whereas with carnivore, I was struggling to be 32.5. Like, I was struggling that last inch. As soon as I lowered because I was eating red meat full of fat. I lowered my animal fats. I went to leaner meats. I lost that inch right away without effort. What I'm trying to say now is I'm going to leaner meats, because I was telling Carnivore MD, Paul Saladino, which I love. He's a great guy. I was telling him I use egg whites, and he's like, "No, I'll take the whole egg." Now I'm back on egg whites, and I've trimmed down. I kept the muscle. Okay. Now I'll tell you guys something. I don't gain muscle easily. Like, I struggle to gain muscle. Like, I have to lift a lot of weights to gain muscle. Not when I was on carnivore. I was surprised. I'm not a guy who gains a lot of muscle easy. I do lifts and I get stronger. I get higher numbers. But I train so much that I feel like I'm always chasing my tail. I'm lifting weights to keep muscle on. Then I'm doing lots of rounds I'm the type of guy I do a lot of rounds, during the week. Okay, if you add my rounds up at the end of the week, I did a lot of endurance. It's a lot of endurance. The high protein really helps. It really makes a difference. And I was doing it with shakes before, but shakes didn't give me the same results. So I'm over 100 grams of protein a day. But flesh foods and Greek yogurt really does better. I don't know why. Somebody explained it to me. He said, You won't have as much. He called it bioavailability. The protein in the shake is not as good as a protein from flesh foods. Now, I believe him because I've experienced it myself, even though I never read it anywhere. I've read countless literature on nutrition. He pointed it out to me. I find it to be true in my own experiences. Not that means, take that with a grain of salt, experiment yourself. But the animal fats did put a little chub on me. Now I'm back to eating the way I was with one adaptation. I've increased the amount of protein I'm getting from flesh foods. I maintained the increase. However, I lowered the intake of fat. Guys, I'm a carb fool. I don't think you can mix carbs and fat. If you mix carbs and fat, you're going to get fat. So I'm mixing carbs with flesh foods, but low-fat flesh foods. I still eat lots of flesh foods to maintain that size that I gained, the muscle that I gained. But the fat is coming off faster now, way faster. Because, before I was eating steak, he was telling me, I eat fatty steaks. No, man, I trim off the fat now. It didn't work for me. I tried it. Look, it worked to a certain extent, but he eats very little carbs. I got to eat a lot of carbs. For training twice a day, you need a lot of carbs. Don't kid yourself, guys. You need carbs. So my advice to you, eat more meats. If you're eating carbs, eat low-fat meats. Chicken breast, lean cuts of protein. Eat low-fat meats. Make a stew. Figure out, make it tasty somehow, some way. If, however, you're not eating carbs, enjoy full-fat meats. Coach won't let me buy Super Chat. How can I fix this? That's from Adan. Brother, I'm no button pushing expert. That is for sure. I'm the last guy you should ask. Hey, Coach, do you ever stretch after class? That's from Maxime St. Pierre. No, I do not stretch after class. I do not. I will loosen up my body if I feel I have a tight muscle, but I use everything I show in Strong and Stable. I use a lot of massage devices. I'll do a lot of mobility exercises. If I'm feeling tight, like days I don't feel like lifting weights, I'll do stability ball. Like if I feel a little bit run down, stability ball is very gentle on the body, but I don't do stretching. No, I'm not a big believer in stretching. What's your beef with knees over toes? I think if you don't have knees pain, it's okay to do BJJ is already knees over toes. That's from Homie 9000. I don't have a beef with him at all. I don't have a beef with him at all. I invited him on my podcast. I'm willing to try his. I wouldn't do load on my back and bend my knees in the knees over toes position, but I wouldn't risk my knees doing that ever. However, I don't have anything against him. I just don't think that it's safe. So I have to we have a difference of opinion. That's all it is. I want to know. I would like to ask him so many questions. How do you know it's safe? Like, how do you know? Like, what research are you basing it on? Coach, missed my super chat. It's from Marwan. I don't think I did. Thoughts on Machiavelli, pragmatism and cons. That's from Marwan Shamsia. Machiavelli, guys. You know Machiavelli? Machiavelli was like, hey, man, you got to do it's better to be feared than to be loved. You got to do what you got to cut throats if you want to be on top. You got to strike fear into your enemies. You got to be ruthless, so to speak. It's pragmatism. What works? Bring it out here. What are my thoughts on Machiavelli? I think it works in short term. Long term, it backfires. Why? Because the generation underneath you, you're raising. You're teaching them to be cutthroat. Well, guess what? They're going to cut your throat. And then they're going to cut each other's throat. And then they're going to destroy each other. Guys, I know it's cliche, but it's true. United we stand, divided we fall. The more unified a people are, the more successful and the further they go. The second everybody's going their own way, the second a group starts getting selfish and start competing with one another, they start stabbing each other in the back, they start plotting against one another, they ain't going to last. That's the truth. That is the big philosophers, the big knock on liberalism. You know, one famous philosopher, John Locke, he was a Christian thinker who came up with liberalism. Now, I'm not saying he's the first guy to come up with it, but he's the one who championed the idea. And he formulated it in a certain way that was very unique. He said, look, you guys know this already. You've never heard of John Locke, but you've heard about what he's taught. John Locke says, look, in liberalism, You could do what you want so long as you don't harm anybody else. Doesn't that sound beautiful? Sounds great to me. Think about it. Be happy. Do what you got to do, but just don't harm anybody. As long as you don't harm anybody, you're good. You want to paint your hair purple? Paint your hair purple. You want to chop off one of your body parts? Chop off one of your body parts. You want to, I don't know, eat a all meat diet? That's your business. As long as you're not harming anybody else, go for it. Okay, John Locke, it doesn't sound crazy. The problem with that, philosophers have criticized him, is that in liberalism, this is the big knock on liberalism, because it makes sense. Like, why would you not do what you want to do? Why wouldn't you? You're not harming anybody. Why say no to that? The problem with what John Locke was teaching was that, imagine a country adopts liberalism. And I live in one of the most liberal countries in the world. I can tell you, I know this firsthand. What happens is every generation starts becoming more and more different from one another. You grow up in a world where everybody's going their own way. This group is dyeing their hair purple. The other group has long hair. The other group has short hair. Everybody's different. Everybody thinks a different way. This guy believes one thing. The other guy, they're so different that they have very little in common. And then they start having in common with people on another side of a border. So then you have ideologies or major differences amongst the people living amongst each other. What happens is there's a lack of unity. Now, a competing civilization, they all rowing, their ducks are in a row. They're all rowing in one direction. They all think alike. They all believe in the same thing. It could be very difficult to compete with a civilization like that. So when we're talking about a world of competition, because here's the thing, people forget about history. History is one giant bloodbath. One nation dominating another, and when you get dominated, I'm sorry to tell you, it's a disaster. Children are I can't even tell you what they do. Like, I hate to say it. But how did they dispose of their enemies' children once the peoples were conquered? What was the general method throughout history of disposing of the children? It's sad to say. But let's just say it had to do with a wall. See this wall here? They used the wall. There's even a verse in the Jewish Bible that talks about that. Like, literally. There's a reference to it. Guys, the world, I won't even say what it is. It's just too morbid. What happens to the women of a losing group? History has taught us that taking one L. Oops. I triggered. Okay. See that? Siri's listening to me. Siri got triggered. Taking a loss on the battlefield was so disastrous, so mind-bending. Civilizations quickly adopted methods to never let that happen again. A lot of what you see of our traditions, our non-liberal traditions, are that. How to stay so unified we never take a loss. Because a loss is too disastrous. It's too mind-bendingly painful. So much of our traditions are meant to protect us from that. Philosophers, we understand it because we go back and we wonder, why did they do this? Why were they successful? They did something. Why was this group successful? Why was this group not successful? And we compare and we think and we theorize and we understand. We come to an understanding that, because they were so alike, because they were so united, they couldn't create a schism between them and couldn't divide them. They were too strong. They were too united. They climbed up so high, so fast because of their unity. All great leaders had a unifying force. They were a unifying force and they became great because of it. There was no great leader ever in history. Oh, I just got a message. Is my stream in trouble? Open widget. Stream health. Poor. Guys, can you let me know, is my stream health poor? I just got like a flag. It's good. Stream is fine. It got laggy for a sec, but it's all good. Okay, good. Good to hear. Okay, guys, what I was saying, look, in liberalism, are we getting, I'm talking Canada. Okay, in Canada, we're super liberal. are we getting more and more diversified? Now, I love diversity. Don't get me wrong. I have a whole other side to the coin. I like diversity. I like in Canada, you walk around and it's all different cultures. I love it. Don't get me wrong, okay, guys? I'm not speaking against diversity. I think diversity is great. What I'm just saying, some philosophers have critiqued the lack of unity. And the lack of unity can lead to disaster. Now, I'm not saying there isn't a happy balance between the two. I'm totally saying there is. All I'm doing is I'm highlighting one opinion, because you think liberalism, it sounds perfect. Do what you want to. You want to be Jewish, be Jewish. You want to be Muslim, be Muslim. You want to be atheist, be atheist. Everybody just don't hurt each other. Don't fight each other. Follow the law. I think that makes total sense. However, what happens when a foreign nationality rises and they're totally united and their ducks are in a row and they're rowing all in the same direction? Are they going to outcompete us? That's a question for our leaders to think, contemplate on. Because you know what? Here's the thing. We're living in the most peaceful time in history right now. Literally, it's the most peaceful time in history. I'm very grateful for that. However, is it going to last forever? I don't think it does. I think history's, and I hope it does. I hope I'm totally wrong on this. But catastrophes every 30, 40, 50 years happen. Dispute over resources, dispute over land. Things can get ugly quick and change. And all of a sudden, the most unified groups have a major advantage. And we're wondering, hey, am I ready to fight for that blue-haired guy who has nothing in common with me? Nothing. He hates jiu-jitsu. He actually thinks I'm a horrible person for whatever reason. And I don't like him. He doesn't like me. Are we going to unite together and back each other up? Or is he going to defect maybe and go on the other side? Maybe I'm going to change side. Maybe I'm going to disappear. Not that I ever would, of course. But what I'm saying is that's the threat. That's the great criticism. A lot of people, when they read Plato, they're like, Plato is crazy. Because Plato said a lot of crazy things in the Republic. Let me tell you a little bit about the Republic. Okay? Plato wanted to take your kids when your child is born. And I'm going to tell you what he said without giving you context. Then I'm going to give you some context, okay? Because I don't think he was crazy. I think he was just desperate. Don't forget, Alexander the Great hadn't happened yet. The Greeks were a punching bag for the Persians at this point. Okay, they were tough, but they were still getting their ass kicked. He said, look, when a Greek is born, we're going to take him. We're going to put him in the nursery, the state nursery. So he's going to be loyal to the state. He doesn't have a mother and father. He'll never know his mother and father. When he grows up, we're going to give him a noble life. We're going to tell him he was born from a type of metal. And if he's gold, if they see he's really smart, they'll make him a philosopher. If they see he's really strong and athletic, they'll make him a warrior. If he's a laborer, okay, they're going to make him a farmer or whatnot. Like, they're going to categorize him. They're going to build the most efficient state. He was the father of eugenics. Eugenics is basically you're breeding human beings. He said, look, every year we're going to have a raffle. You're going to be given your mates for the year via a raffle. And the raffle is going to be fixed. Everybody is going to think it's fair, but it's not going to be fair. Listen to how far Plato went. He's saying, look, this is all a noble lie. We're going to fix the raffle. So we're going to breed the best warriors. We're going to breed the best philosophers. We're going to breed the best looking, tallest, most handsomest, most intelligent, most useful. We're even going to breed the best farmers. They're going to breed the Greeks without the Greeks knowing. And we're going to do this for their own good, he's saying. And this is how the Greeks are going to rise to the top. Guys, I'm very anti-eugenics, okay? I don't think it's doable. I don't think you can pick who's the best. If you look at all the top super studs of the world, like geniuses, you look at their parents, nothing to write home about. We don't know how it works. We don't know. Okay, sometimes you'll see a guy who's great genetics and his parents have great genetics, yes. But also, sometimes you will see a guy with a freaky IQ and his parents were just two average people. They didn't have an IQ of over 100. You know, like, how did this happen? It's impossible to predict these things. However, he wanted to play fire. He wanted to play with fire. And I don't want to say it's totally unknowable. Okay, we breed thoroughbreds, we breed all sorts of animals, and yes, there is some tinkering you can do you can make a difference. All I'm just saying is I don't think it's ethical. Now, he wanted to do all this. Why? the Greeks had just lost the Peloponnesian Wars. The Greeks, not that they were facing extinction, but it wasn't out of the realm of possibility that they would be captured, enslaved, and made to live in a type of hell. He was like, look, how do we figure this out? How do we get out from under this Persian threat? And they did. A few generations later, they helped produce Alexander the Great. Hello, 904. You probably know this already, but diet, workout, sleep, and water. It's a very good tip. Hey, for us, you've talked about fighters burning off nervous energy before a fight. What's your advice for someone in a nervous or anxious situation who can burn the energy, like being in an airplane, date, interview, etc.? That's from Danny Farah. Guys, please no more super chats because I'm going to end this one. It's an hour and a half in and it's midnight. I'm going to have to end this one shortly. Please no more super chats. Let me give you a great tip. Your breathing is both instinctual. You don't have to think about breathing. When you're sleeping, you're breathing automatically. So it's a reflex. And you can also manipulate your breathing. You could pause your breathing. You could hold your breath. You can inhale. You can exhale. You can control your breath on one hand. But your breath on the other hand is a reflex. Like, for instance, I can't raise my heart rate right now. If I think about raising my heart, it won't raise. However, I could raise my breathing rate. Sorry for breathing into mic. I know it's annoying, but I was trying to make a point. I can increase the rhythm of my breath. I can slow it down. I have total control of my breath. And also, I can forget about it. It goes automatically on autopilot. This is not true of any other function I have. You cannot do anything else reflexively in terms of reflex and in your total control. So how do I, let's say you're in an important business meeting and you're nervous. That's a reflex. You're not asking your body. I'm not telling my body, hey, increase my heart rate, make me sweat, make me totally nervous, make me feel uncomfortable. I'm not telling my body that. I'm not telling my body is doing that. It's sensing some type of danger and it's producing a cocktail. And this is a cocktail that's allowing you to increase your ability to run, to fight or flight. The original statement was fight, flight, or freeze. Think about it. If you see a tiger real far away, you might want to run. You might want to run and get out of his field of view. If you see a snake crawling by you, you might want to freeze. If you're trapped in a cave with a wild animal, you might have to fight. You might have to pull out your spear and fight. Those are the three things we do when we're in danger. Today they say fight or flight, but the original, stems from psychology, is fight, flight, or freeze. People freeze. So you might be up there giving your speech and you're like, I totally forgot. That's a natural reflex. Now, if you cannot do it, because I gave another answer that he's mentioning where I talk about like exercise, like shadow box, get your jitters out. Nerves is just energy. Get it out of your system. If you can't, like you're sitting in an airplane, now it's time to control your breath. Remember, the breath is the gateway between my reflexes and my functions of my body that I can control. If you study the art of breathing, you can put yourself in a parasympathetic state. Now, a sympathetic state is when you're nervous, when you're in that fight, flight, or freeze. If you control your breathing, and I'll give you guys an exact example, you can calm your mind and put yourself in a parasympathetic state. A parasympathetic state is when you're feeling mellow. You're feeling chill. Guys, your breathing can control your mind. It can give you a sedative. It's a natural sedative. I give one actually in my new book, but I'm not going to go through that one, okay? Exhale fully. Hold for 5 seconds. Empty all the air in your body. Hold it for 5 seconds. Then inhale fully. Now hold it for your maximum capability. You don't have to go full-blown 100%. Go 95%. So you inhale fully and then you hold it for as much as you can. And then exhale it for 15 seconds. So when it's time to exhale, exhale for 15 seconds. So slow exhale. Try to make sure exhaling for 15 seconds. So first, we start off with exhaling a complete amount of air. Then we hold for 5 or 10 seconds. Then we inhale fully, maximum. Then we hold for as long as we can. Then we exhale for 15 seconds. We don't just go, no. You exhale it slow. You do 5 or 10 rounds. You'll be mellow. You'll be mellow jello. You'll be loose as a goose. You do that before your meeting. There are different breathing exercises. One day I'll put up a whole book about breathing exercises. There are different ways to go about breathing. And it's like if you took a drug. If you get good at this, you can mellow your mind. You can mellow your heart, your soul. You can lower your heart rate. And then later, as you get really good at it, you could do just one cycle and you'll calm yourself. Your body knows exactly what you're telling it to do. The mind, the gateway to the mind is the breath. One of the gateways to the mind is the breath. You can literally lower your heart rate. You can literally change the chemicals that are being released into your bloodstream by controlling your breath. Your breath is the only function you have total control over and is also at the same time automatic for the majority of your life. Control it to make contact and transfer information to the rest of your body that is controlled via reflex. Get into a parasympathetic state. I gave you one breathing exercise. There are many. You basically want to slow down your breath. A very simple one. Put your hand on your stomach. Inhale fully. Imagine the contours of your stomach like a big bubble. Inhaling. So you put your hand on your stomach and you just imagine, you visualize the entire contour. You want all that air to go into your stomach. Okay? It doesn't actually go in your stomach, but you want it to feel that way. And then you exhale as slow as possible. You let the air out of your stomach as if there was a slow leak of air. You let all the air out as slow as you can. And then you inhale again and you fill up that belly. It's called belly breathing. Okay? That's belly breathing is just a trick to get your air as deep as you can in your lungs. No, air never goes in you're not breathing through your stomach. Okay? Nobody's saying you're breathing through your stomach. But I want to put that air as deep into my lungs as possible. Okay? I have the contour of my stomach. And then I exhale really slowly. You do 5-10 cycles of that. Your mind will mellow. Do 50 cycles of it. You'll be loose as a goose and as calm as you can be. You'll walk into that meeting. You're going to feel great. You're going to feel fantastic. Guys, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share. Make sure to check out jujiclub.com. Spring 50 off. Use the promo code. Check out tsdorms@gmail.com if you guys want. It's in the description as well. If you guys want to come and train at TriStar Dim and stay at the dorms. We got Ray Rodriguez, my man, member for 50 months. Shout out to Ray Rodriguez, member for 50 months. Look at that. Look at those statistics. Good evening, coach. I know this is an off-tribute topic, but as a Muslim, is the Quran enough or are the hadiths also necessary? That's from Ray. Guys, he's a 50-month member. I have to answer. I was about to sign off. And Rodriguez comes out from the top rope with a flying elbow. Boom. And knocks me back down to the mat. I was just about to climb out of the cage. Ray, my man, look, he's asking a very important question. He's saying, look, in Christianity, they have this too. Some Christians say, look, we don't want tradition. We don't want the Catholic Pope. We just want sola scriptura, just the Bible. Because the Jews, the Christians, and the Muslims have also tradition. How do you understand your text? The Jews say, look, our text is not just the Jewish Bible. It's also our tradition. We were taught this tradition, a verbal tradition, oral tradition. And it tells us secrets about the Torah, about the gospel, about the Tanakh. And the Christians, the Catholics say, look, we were taught by the apostles these secrets about the Bible, the gospel. And you can't just go out there and read the scripture and interpret it your way. Now, there's been rifts. Every group, including the Muslims, the same thing. Look, we have the scripture. We have the tradition. Don't interpret outside the tradition unless there's no tradition to interpret. If the tradition interprets it, that's it. There might be higher meanings, but that's for the ulama, the scholars. Don't go too far. And again, I'm not talking about like later commentators on the Quran. That's not a standard. That's food for thought. That's for scholars to consider, but that could be error. Okay, even Sahaba could make error. So what's he saying? He's saying, look, should I go Quran only? Like, should I go Bible only? Should I go Torah only? Like, in my opinion, no. The tradition is sound. It's powerful. It's not perfect. The Quran is totally different league. Guys, the Quran, here's the thing with the Quran. Muslims, when we pray, we recite the Quran. There was never a break in prayer. The Quran is recited aloud. It's recited. The entire Quran is recited every Ramadan. Ramadan's coming up. Around the world, it's recited in its entirety. Out loud. This tradition, the praying tradition, has passed down the Quran in a way no text has ever been passed down. It's literally practiced out loud every single day. And if there's an error, it's corrected. If there's a human error, there's 50 people waiting in line that are Quran geniuses that are going to correct. You cannot recite out loud wrong. They will correct you. There has never been a break in this tradition. Never. No way. No historian will ever make this claim. He would be humiliated. The hadith is not as perfect as the Quran. No, that's true. However, it isn't. If it's mutawatir, if it has 30 sources above, okay, that's a loose definition of mutawatir because there's no actual fully perfect way to define mutawatir. But guys, there's so much research to do here. There's a lot of sound. Not everything is perfect. No, that's not true. But there's so much powerful evidence that it's hard to deny. It is true. So I accept the tradition. If you ask me personally, I also accept the tradition, even though it's not perfect. The Quran is in a league by itself. It's not comparable. Some people compare hadith to Quran. They say, oh, hadith is just as... No, I don't agree. Please bring me a scholar to prove me wrong, because I personally, after studying it, I don't see it's the same caliber. The Quran was practiced aloud. And I have more points to make on that, but the hadith, some of it is very, very sound, and there's no reason not to accept it. Okay, guys, with that said, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you had fun. And if you did, please like, share, and comment. I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.